Aloha, and welcome to a new year. I'd like to talk today about one of the most dynamic and exciting job functions that we have in the product support world, the counter and telephone salespeople. Now, they're not going to like that characterization. Many of them are going to tell you that it's like they're working all day long with their hair pulling straight back. There's too much pressure, too many phone calls, too many people, too much going on. It was funny. Early in my career, I supervised a group of 8 telephone counter salespeople. This was at the Caterpillar dealer in Montreal. And it always struck me that when my boss was around complaining about us having too many people, the phones were never ringing. There was nobody at the counter. Why is that? However, getting past that, it was always exciting. These were 8 men who'd been doing this job for a long time. This is the late 1960s. And it was a very spotty kind of work. First thing in the morning, 6 to 9, the phones rang. People came in to pick up parts to get themselves ready for the day. Mid-morning, there was a gentle increase of business. It was people getting ready to order parts, pick them up after lunch. Then lunch, it became quiet. After lunch, the people picked up the parts, and there was another flurry of activity leading up to the big one at the end of the day where they were getting ready for the next day. So there was something going on all of the time with very few downs. And in those downs, the men would go get a cup of coffee, they'd sit and chat with each other. In other words, they'd relax a bit because the pressure had been intense. I want to tell you a little story about a Friday afternoon. My workstation was looking straight out at the front door. The counter was off to my left-hand side, and the telephone receptionist in a small seated waiting area was to my right. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. The counter's 2 or 3 people deep. The phones are ringing. It's going crazy. My boss in those days, Bob Hewitt, liked always to look busy. So we only had 2 shipping and receiving docks, and at the end of the day, the side street that we were on, the service road to the Trans-Canadian Highway, was packed, back-to-back tractor trailers. So this Friday afternoon, somewhere around 4, a guy comes through the front door. He looks over at the counter and sees it's busy. And he turns to his left and goes and sits down in the waiting area. Now, I'm seeing all of this. I'm watching this happen. He's maybe 40 feet in front of me. He picks up the phone. The receptionist answers the phone, and she transfers the phone over to the parts department. I can hear it ringing. One of the people at the counter excuses himself from the customer he's serving and says, "Excuse me, I have to go get that phone." And he goes and answers the phone and takes the order and processes the order and said, "Okay, where do you want me to ship it?" He says, "No, I'll pick it up. I'm over here." And the customer raised his hand and waved at the man at the counter. It was an interesting lesson. We were teaching people that they got better service by calling in on the telephone. Today, I would kill to have more customers come into my store. It's a store. That's a lesson I never forgot.